Hey, it's Ty Screams, and I'm about to give you a recap of what happened on season 46, episode 3 of Survivor. We start the episode after the tribal where Jess was voted out. The tribe talks with Banu about how they didn't tell him about the idol because they didn't think he could lie. We also get an aside of Banu talking about how he struggles with lying. The next day, we see Yanu waking up on day 6 after not having fire and having to sleep under a rocky overhang because of a storm. Banu feels like he's on the outs and confides in Kenzie about it, where she's sort of unsure what to do because this is the game he signed up to play. Banu also talks with Q, and Q sees it as an opportunity to coach Banu into playing the game better. At one point, he compares Banu to Philip to his Boston Rob, which is not the compliment I think he meant it to be. Then, in a weird turn of events, we time travel back 4 days to the Siga beach, where we see the tribe idol hunting all together. As they come across a very interesting looking tree, Jem reaches up and grabs the Beware advantage from right under Charlie's nose without him noticing. She's ecstatic, then wakes up in the middle of the night to dig up the box to see what happens next. Very similar to Tiffany and Randon's Beware advantages. Though, in an odd move, instead of reburying the box where she dug it up, she stashes it in some brush along a path. Over at Nami, we get a bit of a backstory on Hunter after he builds a bed. We find out more about his history of being a teacher and how he builds replicas of immunity challenges at home to practice, but to also teach students. This doesn't necessarily go unnoticed because we get to see Venus and Randon discussing how they see Tevin and Hunter are running the tribe, and they gotta stay aware of it. The next day, we get Randon waking up to his arm being tingly after sleeping. They bring in medical and they say it could be some sort of nerve damage, so they will keep a close eye on it over the next few days to see if symptoms change. For the immunity challenge, the tribes have to make it through an obstacle course from the ocean to the beach, then throw sandbags up onto platforms high above them. Siga takes a quick lead with Yanu in second and Nami last. Once Nami is able to get to the sandbag portion, Hunter takes advantage of his skills, then quickly lands all the bags on all the platforms, securing another win for Nami. It then becomes a tight race between Siga and Yanu, where they are each one platform away. Charlie secures the win before Q can, landing the last sandbag. Both Nami and Siga receive additional camp supplies and immunity. Then Jeff announces that Nami will get to choose 3 people to go on a journey. Nami chooses Liz from Nami, Ben from Siga, and Banu from Yanu. We immediately cut to the Yanu beach where everybody's annoyed that Banu was chosen because they know he's going to spill all of their information to the other tribes. Q also blames himself for the loss for faulting under pressure, and even telling Tiffany and Kenzie to vote him out, which they actively disagree with. On the journey, Banu immediately breaks down, and word vomits on Liz and Ben about the dynamics of the Yanu tribe, stating that Tiffany and Q are super tight, Kenzie is a mastermind controlling the tribe, and how they all called him a fool. Which, did they? Because I don't remember hearing that being said, at least to his face. Ben and Liz comfort him, and Ben gives Banu a bit of a pep talk to hopefully calm him down. They then pull rocks to decide which 2 of the 3 will continue and which will return to camp. Liz pulls the white rock, leaving the journey immediately. Ben and Banu then have to complete a 9-block puzzle within a pretty quick time limit, or they lose their vote. Both are unable to complete, which means both Banu and Ben have lost their vote. Ben returns to Siga with gossip and tells everyone everything about what Banu said, including that he gave him a pep talk. Then Ben also fibs a little bit and says that he had to complete a challenge to risk his vote, but won't know until tribal council if he has a vote or not. This was such a smart move by Ben because while he still went on a journey and that puts a target on his back, this also at least reduces the size of that target because now no one knows, except Ben, whether he is able to vote or not. At Yanu, Banu lies to the tribe and says that he pulled a white rock so he can immediately return to camp. He then pulls Q aside and reveals he actually lost his vote, and Q sees the opportunity to try to convince Tiffany that she should vote for Kenzie instead because of the threat she is. Tiff is kind of open to it, but her gut is saying to vote Banu to have a more stable tribe. While the Nami tribe is relaxing after the win, out of nowhere they see Jeff and the medical team come around the corner with some terrible news. The medical examiner explains that he contacted a neurologist about the symptoms Randon was feeling, and that he should immediately be taken for an MRI to make sure everything is okay. Unfortunately, that means Randon must be removed from the game and will not be returning. Tiffany and Banu are talking at the Yanu shelter, where Tiffany seems to be on the verge of switching her vote to Kenzie, when Jeff shows up to discuss the situation about Randon. He then mentions that because of the removal, there would be no tribal council. The Yanu tribe celebrates, and Banu sees the light of another day in the game. What do you think is going to happen next episode? Will Yanu head back to tribal again? And if that happens, will we see our first blindside of the season? Or will Nami get shaken up and drop down a few pegs at a tribal council? Will Siga continue to rock on as the safe tribe? Be sure to like, subscribe, and tune in next week for another recap of Survivor.